Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Ghostwood, the Twin Peaks podcast. I'm Charles Skaggs, here for our 50th episode, and I'm here with my lovely co-host, who, fresh from the dentist, once again, nice shiny choppers, Zan Sprouse. Hi, Zan. How are you today?
Hi, Charles. Thank you for that lovely introduction. 50 episodes.
I don't know how lovely it was, but
I thought it was very
It's hard trying to make these fresh, because I don't want to keep repeating myself. I always sound like I'm repetitive enough as it is, but
you're awesome. I'm occasionally tolerable.
No,
that's how we all know it.
Take that, reverse it. So,
strike that,
reverse it. Yeah, exactly. So you're awesome. I'm occasionally tolerable.
So much time and so little to do.
Very nice. So, yeah, here we are, episode 50. You put up with my nonsense for 50 episodes now.
You've put up with my nonsense for 50 episodes. That's impressive. And people out there in podcast land have put up with both of us.
Yeah.
And they're the true heroes of this
equation. So, if you have listened to all 50 episodes of this podcast, salute.
That's awesome. Thank you so much.
Yes, thank you so much, because we definitely appreciate it. And we, we're just sharing our love of Twin Peaks, and we've been fortunate enough to do that. And, we've done it here for a couple years now, and never gets old for me.
It's really nice to know that we're not the only ones who still love this show as much as we still love it. Yeah. That's a really good thing.
If our follows on Twitter are any indication... Yeah, plenty of Twin Peaks people out there. So, all over the world, and it's just insane. So, and with the obviously with the return, there's a whole new generation of Twin Peaks fans, or David Lynch fans, and it's just been great. So,
it's been wonderful, and we are so lucky, Charles, to live here in Columbus, Ohio, because we have a movie theater here that is starting a Late Nights with Lynch series.
I saw that.
And that starts this weekend at the Studio 35 Cinema Draft House.
And I really want to make my escape from my house to go do that.
I think you can. I think the weather will be fine. I think we should do it. It's midnight movie Eraserhead.
So tempting.
Perfect time for that. And oddly enough, Charles, this time, after having my wisdom tooth pulled, I did not watch Eraserhead again. I just
did you intentionally decide to save it for this?
No, I just watched Unsolved Mysteries on Pluto.
Got it.
That was my choice instead.
Unsolved Mysteries or Eraserhead.
Or Eraserhead, yeah, exactly. And it was funny too, because I was telling the dental assistant, that I had watched Eraserhead the last time I'd gotten my wisdom teeth out, and that was much worse than this time. This time it was just a pull, because this one had grown in previously 25 years ago.
Right.
We'll
see you again in 25 years.
I'll see you again in 25 years. Yeah. I had the whole, put you under, cut your mouth open, yank your teeth out of your skull thing. So I was recovering from general anesthetic at that time, and I said I had watched Eraserhead. She's like, "Oh yeah, I've seen that movie. Can you believe he had a baby with his maid?" I said, "What?
What
are you talking about?" She was thinking of Eraser
with Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Arnold Schwarzenegger and
Arnold. Yes.
What is her last name? Vanessa Williams.
Yeah.
So I was like, that's a different movie, but yeah, no, I still can't believe he had a kid with his maid either.
I was going to be very surprised if she actually knew what Eraserhead was. Because it's still a pretty obscure reference.
It is kind of an obscure reference. It's very strange.
It's like you're still part of a secret club if you know what Eraserhead is.
Yeah, and that surprises me, because Eraserhead is 40 years old now. But
it's as far from mainstream as it gets.
Yeah, but don't kids still, have parties in
Cult
the basement and watch weird movies anymore?
Nah, those youngins, they're just so busy with their phones and their Minecrafts and their Fortnites and all that.
And they're and that's the thing. There's so much else out there
and
for
the Instagrams.
Why is Eraserhead not a young person phenomenon like the Golden Girls is? Doesn't make any sense to me.
Right. Yeah, you think there would be some kind of retro thing going on there. But
yeah. Not any disrespect
retro fandom, but yep.
Yeah. I got nothing but love for the Golden Girls, but
exactly. Well, B. Arthur, come on. So.
Outstanding. We ask for a bunch of crazy shit right now, and then that way when we get arrested, we can plead insanity later. Exactly. Good idea.
So all you lucky people out there in Ghostwood land, you're in for a treat because for our 50th episodes, the stars aligned so perfectly. There was that whole alignment between Mars and Jupiter and whatnot. Get your on the cave paintings and whatnot. Everything was aligned. The Black Lodge opened, and we're getting the final episode of the Who Killed Laura Palmer saga here in episode 50. So we're going to talk Arbitrary Law, the 9th episode of the 2nd season that aired on November 24th, 1990.
Oh my goodness.
Written by Mark.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Exactly. Written by Mark Frost. There's something to talk about during the Thanksgiving dinner with your relatives.
Yeah, seriously.
It's like, I just watched Ray Wise bash his head into a door repeatedly.
Pass the potatoes.
As like there was a sprinklers going off, a sprinkler system going off. So, written by Mark Frost, Harley Payton, and Robert Engels.
Yes.
So, the main Twin Peaks writers doing this, and directed by Tim Hunter. You would think an episode as important as this would have been directed by David Lynch, but David had kind of an issue with the network wanting him to end Laura Palmer mystery.
Yes.
So it's no real surprise that he did not direct this episode.
So he kind of sat back and just let this one be so good and show ABC what morons they were.
Right.
Now I will say, now that's not exactly true. ABC is morons for the way they treated David Lynch's shows, the way they move them around and all those
the time shuffling, yes, the schedule.
The time shuffling, all that silly network crap.
Yeah.
But we've talked about this before, Charles, where you take a storyline, and storylines are like a wine. It peaks and then it turns into vinegar.
Yes.
And we talked about this with things like, moonlighting, David and Maddie, will they or won't they?
Right. And there's that problem of drawing things out far too long.
Yeah, I got sick of it. It only took us, people had waited all summer to find out who shot JR. And if you had made us wait another year for that, people would have stopped watching. They would have gone over to Dynasty or something.
Right.
Same thing with Northern Exposure, the Fleischman and O'Connell, will they or won't they? It's like that. After a while, you stop.
Or Lois and Clark, they had that too for the first couple of seasons.
Yeah, Lois. Now, granted, that did take. What did that take? 60 years for them to actually get together.
Well, now that you mention it, yeah.
We did have a bit of a precedence there with.
Yeah, but as far as this, just the show, it
still
took 2 seasons for them to.
Certain storylines only have a certain shelf life, and I think Twin Peaks did a good job with the idea that you can end this storyline, but there's no way this is going to be tied up in a nice little bow. This is not an episode of Perry Mason. This is not an episode of Columbo, where at the end of it you're going to all the right people are in jail and all the right people are back home with their families and there's justice and everybody's happy. That can't happen here.
There isn't that sense of closure,
right?
With this mystery, because with the villain Bob being a supernatural entity,
where does it go?
Exactly. It's like, well, how do you hold him? How do you keep him there?
You can't.
You can't. And so it's like, Like, unless you've got like, oh, I don't know, the Spectre on speed dial, then, or, like you've got, you call up the Ghostbusters who are they're ready to believe you, but.
And even if you do call up the Ghostbusters, there's some Mr. Pecker over here that's going to shut down the containment system at some point.
If it wasn't for Dickless here.
Is this true?
This is true. This man has no dick. Yes.
And this is City Hall. Okay. My name is Peck. Anyway, you know, something like that is going to happen. And as we see in this episode, and we'll discuss a little bit later,
right?
Bob breaks out of his prison.
Yes.
And you don't know quite where he's gone for a while. And they don't know if he's coming back. They don't know.
There's no indication of when or if or like how Bob is going to come back at this point.
Or even where. Is it going to still be in this area? Is it going to be in some other part of Lewis and Clark's pathway? Is it going to be? We don't know. We honestly don't know. And everything in Twin Peaks kind of hits the fan after this happens. You know, we start having, you know, what's going to happen with, you know, we shot, you know, Blackie's dead, but Jean Renault's still out there.
Right. And he still has his grudge against Cooper. They've teased Wyndham Earls lurking in the background somewhere.
Who also has a grudge against Cooper.
Right. Notice the theme here?
Yeah. And Cooper went to Canada under shady circumstances. Ruh-roh. So Cooper's going to have some drama going on. So
there's this thing called consequences.
There's this thing called.
I know consequences aren't in vogue these days. But...
Consequences and the correct procedures. We follow procedures. We follow orders, or people die.
Right.
You know, answer the question. You want answers? I want the truth. You can't handle the truth.
Nice. And we just talked about that movie before we started recording.
We just talked about that. Yeah, that's the thing. You got to, in the FBI, you got to follow orders, people die.
Because, hey, who's in that movie? James Marshall.
Because, you know, we were looking at,
we were kind of like checking out this James Marshall's IMDb, because, hey, who doesn't just spend their day checking out James Marshall's IMDb?
James has always been cool.
His IMDb has always been cool.
Yep, exactly.
But we're trying to figure out our timeline of what he did when he takes his little hiatus.
Yes, with spoiler alert for you in the end of this episode. So, Should we just get into it, Charles?
I think we should. We've kind of talked. Yeah, obviously, major cast are here in this episode. We've got Al Strobels as Philip Gerard, the one-armed man. Frank Silva as Bob, of course, one of his biggest episodes. Yeah, so therefore it's one of Zan's least favorite episodes.
No, I love it. I watch a lot of it like this.
Yes.
Just sort of turned away with my hand up at the screen.
Miguel Ferrer as Albert Rosenflower. Ian Buchanan is Dick Tremaine. Dick Tremaine. Yeah. Return of Don Davis as Major Briggs.
Hell yeah! Who comes in this episode like a boss.
Yeah, seriously, right?
Yep.
All stoic and everything. It's so cool.
Oh yeah.
Carol Strucken is the Giant, of course.
Mm-hmm.
Hank Warden returns as the old waiter. So
got no cool on you.
Yep, but it's getting warmer now.
Warmer.
And we have the return of Mrs. Tremond. Only it's not that Mrs. Tremond. It's not that. Just what year is this?
Yeah.
Nice. There it is.
Mrs. Tremond is never the same person for them.
After watching the final episode of The Return, that scene that we're going to talk about here kind of has a little bit more significance than it originally did when we watched it.
Change the name to Chalfont. Very similar scene.
Yep, exactly. Exactly. Yep. So if everybody's ready, let's do this thing.
Do it.
Got my secondary earphones in.
Nice.
All right.
This is really a renegade production that we put on here for you folks.
This is top-notch professionalism.
Seriously. And I have worked in public television, and that is like space age compared to what we do here.
That's right. We're so high tech with our iPads and our little Skype and our microphones. And, exactly.
That's pretty awesome.
And our cell phones with really bad sound effects. Exactly. So. I think I'm high.
Yes.
Just threw that in there for you.
The boy genius.
Yes, the boy genius. All right. So if
boy genius.
So if everybody's ready, we're of course at the 1 minute 31 second mark, and where the screen is black because now it's dark.
Oh, it's dark.
And if everybody's ready, get your video queued up, and we will start our commentary in 3, 2, 1, twink.
She's dead.
She's still dead. She's still wrapped in plastic.
Oh, look at this. Yes, please.
Yes, slow-mo walk.
Oh, man, if I saw this walking towards me, I would, I'd be a little bit scared because it would be like a ghost walking towards me, unfortunately. But yeah, look at that. I would.
All they need are proton packs.
Well, let's just be honest. I'd take 3 out of 4 of those.
So who's the unlucky fellow?
There's nothing wrong with Michael Ontkean. He just doesn't do it for me. That's all.
He's too square.
I don't know if he's too square or he's too skinny or I don't know what it is. But
actually, Cooper's probably the squarest, but it's hip to be square kind of square.
He's that kind of square, yeah. Michael Ontkean was more of a 70s type,
yes.
smoldering heartthrob.
Kind of like in a Starsky and Hutch vein.
Kind of, yeah.
The Paul Michael Glaser.
It's an O. We were wondering this last episode, Charles. Yes. What was the letter? We couldn't remember. And it's the letter O, spelling Robert, my proper name. Which I don't know if we've talked much about that.
No.
The European movie where he explains that the letters are supposed to be spelling out his proper name of Robert.
That's right.
And yes, that is Fox for not Vicuna, people, for those of you keeping score.
Not a Vicuna coat.
Not Vicuna.
It's a stuffed white fox.
It's a white fox.
Which makes that scene where Leland steals the white fox fur so much more important.
So much more important, exactly. And I love this scene where
this is great.
Albert here, but he's just like, yeah, you do this. You find this beast before he takes another bite. And I think that's a fantastic line.
Yeah, it's like stand on the rim of the volcano, do your dance.
Do your dance, whatever your crap is, just do it.
Yeah, exactly. It's like no pressure.
Gotta make some phone calls. Gotta call some people. Well, then do it and get the F out of my house before she gets here.
It's like, come on, we're like almost halfway through our second season. Get on with it.
Look at the double R with its tablecloths. It looks weird with those tablecloths.
It does, but they don't last too much longer, do they? I don't think.
No, they don't. I just think it's funny too because they still have the fold marks in them, so because they obviously don't use them very often.
They're right out of the wrapper. You stop by Bed Bath and Beyond, and
I gotta give James credit here. He buys her this ring.
Yep. Don't take the ring, Donna.
Don't take the ring, Donna. And big hands, I know you're the one. Anyway, the lady at the jewelry store had really big hands. So I'm just happy that he doesn't try to give her another gold heart necklace.
Yeah, because that would be really tacky.
That would just be creepy. Like, what do you have, like 80 of these in your house that you just have stored away?
He buys them in bulk.
He just buys a bunch of them from, Claire's and gives them out as necessary. Ugh, yeah. God.
So here's Norma's horrible mother. Sylvia. Not Sylvia.
Oh, Sylvia.
Not Sylvia. Not Sylvia.
No, that's
Vivian. I'm sorry, Vivian.
Yeah, that's Don. That's
Ben's wife.
mother.
Yeah. Different horrible mother.
You mean MT Vivian? Oh wait, did I say that out loud?
Oh, spoilers.
Spoilers.
So yeah, she took a bite of this omelet, which looks just fine, and spat
looks
it back
fine
out.
Aside from the fact that it's an omelet. I mean, I'm personally not a big fan of omelets.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't order one if I didn't like them.
You realize you're eating at a diner. This is not exactly a 4-star restaurant.
And honestly, you know what? If I were going to eat an omelet, diner was where I want to do it.
Right.
I don't want to eat I don't want to eat an omelet that is all fancied up with veal sausage and morel mushrooms. That's the omelet's acting like it's better than it really is.
Oh, here's Andy practicing his French.
He still has some work to do.
You got to give him points for trying, though.
You got to give him points for trying, but yeah, he's got some.
This is obviously out of his wheelhouse, but he's making the effort.
Yep.
And Donna's like, wait, what?
What did you just say? Some guy just committed suicide because of me, and that was in his note.
I caught that sly zing on Donna there.
Not
that you're bitter or anything.
Speaking of that, did you hear that they up conviction for the girl who talked her boyfriend into committing suicide?
No.
Did you hear about that?
No.
There's I want to say she got 2 or 3 years in prison for egging her boyfriend on to commit suicide. They were texting back and forth, and she said, if you really feel like you need to do it. And just terrible, terrible stuff. And he did, in fact, commit suicide. And her conviction was upheld, and I am extremely happy about that.
Her name wasn't Lara Flynn Boyle, was it?
It was not, but yeah, to take a lesson from that, yeah. Donna, you can't mess with people.
So Donna's finally bringing Cooper in on all the stuff that she's been investigating on her own.
Should have been talking to the police about this whole time.
Right.
Yeah. By the way, Charles, I have to say it again. I say it every time we talk about Harold. 1-800-TALK, suicide prevention hotline. It's always there.
Right.
So is Mrs. Tremond home? I'm Mrs. Tremond. Oh, dun, 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 dun.
What year is this?
In fact, Chalfont was the name of the people who lived here before.
Right.
Weird, huh? Goodness. Where are they, and where are their paintings?
It's like, did we cross over to another parallel Earth here?
I think we cross over to parallel Earths more often than we realize here in... Look at this. I meant to turn it in. Yeah. Does anybody take anything to the police ever in this town?
I know, right? It's like, no, I was just holding on to it. It just happened to be here. Good thing you showed up so that you saved me a trip.
Yeah, seriously.
Yeah. It's a miracle it's unopened. Unless you steamed it open and then sealed it right back.
Yeah, that's the thing. It just said Donna Hayward, and it was in my mailbox. So basically, what that says is that that Harold knew he was going to commit suicide, put the diary pages in the other mailbox, and then went and did his thing. So now we find out
Harold could have sent those to the police, but didn't.
Mm-hmm. Nope. Yeah, Harold is kind of crazy. So here we're finding out that Laura and Cooper had that exact same 25 years later dream.
Right. It's like, I dreamt that I made out with a made up Kyle MacLachlan. This is the weirdest dream. Did you have that dream, Zan?
Oh, that I made out with an older Kyle MacLachlan? Yeah, I've been having that dream since 1990. What are you talking about, Charles?
Just checking.
Just because Kyle MacLachlan is always older than me. He will always be older than me.
That's a good point.
But yes, kudos to Kyle looking better than his made-up self did.
Right.
In Twin Peaks.
I wonder if in the back of his mind he had to go I have to look better than that makeup. I have to look better than that makeup.
That's a good question. Yep. And honestly, with his dyed hair. Because I don't know if you've seen a recent picture of Kyle MacLachlan.
Right.
He was recently in an interview talking about the remake of Dune.
Yeah, he's all Silver Fox now.
He's all Silver Fox now, yeah. So that's been some dye job going on there for a while. But I don't want to call the Dune a remake because you can't necessarily remake something that was a book first.
Yeah.
So I guess a reimagining of. So here we were talking, Charles, you and I were talking earlier about that unfortunately there's really no way to stop Bob.
Right.
And the only person who can is probably Mike, as we saw in Laura's diary. The only person who scares him is a man named Mike. And
yeah, that's something we find out later in this episode.
Right. There's a drug that keeps Philip Gerard from slipping into Mike.
Right, the haloperidol.
The haloperidol. And Dr. Hayward is here saying the drug, he's going to die if we don't help him. And so Cooper's trying to keep him in Mike mode for a little bit to try and get some more information. And so, yeah, no one can stop him. It's terrible. A golden circle.
Yes.
Not the department store. Remember when we were kids, Charles? That's a ring, you know.
I was like, oh, yeah, I gave my ring to the giant.
Oh, don't take the ring, Cooper. Don't take the ring. The giant can help you find Bob.
Now,
here's the giant. We know something about the giant from having seen the last episode.
Yes, we do.
That Cooper doesn't know it, but we get a clue of it here in a little bit.
Oh, and this is part of the what I talked about was that the trap for Cooper.
Right.
That they were setting him up.
Totally setting him up. Yeah, because
for reasons we'll discuss, more in detail in later episodes, but
right, just because there's some
But if you watch the show, you know what we're talking about.
Yeah, and there's some things from Cooper's past too that we find out through the Wyndham Earle saga. Yeah. And we find out through
I just had to wonder what's going on through Doc Hayward's mind watching all that. He's like, I am way too sober for all this shit. No,
just Doc Hayward's
I can't deal with this. I can't even.
I'm just not going to ask questions. Oh. That milk will cool on you.
Yeah, you better know about me. You ignored me and left me for dead.
I almost died. I was shot, and you came in my room and gave me milk and called nobody.
Because you can't be bothered to pick up a bloody phone.
Seriously. Oh, white fox, white fox, white fox. Now, like you said.
So that scene when Leland, we talked about this in the previous episode, where Leland just casually takes that bit of fur, and what you thought was just this really oddball moment actually has significance. He was planning to frame Ben.
And Ben's phone was what was used to call Laura the night before she died, where her phone rang, and then she left a few minutes later. Cooper, as we can see here, though, this doesn't sit right with him.
No, he was obviously studying that stuffed white fox very intently.
Yeah, it just seems too easy.
Convenient, yeah.
It all seems too convenient, and here we have the confirmation, Ben Horn's blood test. Now, before we were recording, Charles, I was looking this up, and the the sprinkler system.
Here comes Chekhov's sprinkler.
Yep. This, Charles, is what we refer to in storytelling as foreshadowing.
Exactly. This is writing.
So, yes. DNA evidence was, in fact, a thing at this time.
Right.
But it was in its infancy when it comes to being used for criminal prosecution. The first person convicted using DNA evidence was convicted in 1989. So it was still very new. I still don't think people knew what to call it.
Right, and they're still trying to explain it because obviously most people don't know what the hell they're talking about with this.
Right, so I think people, it's sort of coming out in the news that blood samples can be used to identify people, but not to the extent that we're familiar with it now.
Right.
So.
And Lucy's kind of turned on by Andy's assertiveness here.
Yeah, Andy's really
take charge.
He wants to throw down with Dick Tremaine here.
And then he's like, well, whenever you got the time to come over, if you're not too busy.
And that's the thing. Andy's a sweet guy until he remembers that he's not supposed to be.
Yeah. So here's Catherine as Tojamura.
Dropping
by to say hi to her lover, Ben.
Oh, goodness gracious.
So
he's in jail.
This scene is wrong for all kinds of reasons.
It's wrong for all kinds of reasons. So yeah, Benjamin Horne is in jail. She's trying to either finish the job or get her money back. And of course, her money is now with Josie.
Right. But she doesn't know that.
She doesn't know that. That's true. Everybody is.
So she's just like, where's my money? Like,
where's the money, Lebowski?
Bitch better have my money.
Where's my money?
$2.
$2.
I want my $2.
$2. You know, I saw that movie for the first time like 5 years ago.
Really?
Yeah.
You came in that late. I've been watching that since the 80s. I love that movie.
I came in that super late. Yes, I did.
That paper boy is like my favorite character in that whole thing.
Oh, my favorite character is Curtis Armstrong.
Understandable.
I've been going to this school for 7 years. I'm no dummy.
So basically, Ben is like lobbying. He's like, look, until I can breathe free air as a free man.
The air that free men breathe.
You'll have to give me your understanding. Please give me your understanding. Oh, that makeup, the closer you get on it, it just looks more and more racist, doesn't it?
It looks more and more fake.
Yes.
And here we have the reveal that it is in fact Piper Laurie.
Yep.
And not
Well, we know already because she talked to Pete.
Yes, she talked to Pete.
But Ben,
this is
where Ben's finding out. So she's like, wait a minute, I recognize that toenail polish.
And he's thinking, Catherine? Thank God, because Catherine is the one person who can
get him out of jail.
Can basically exonerate him from the night that Laura.
She's his alibi.
Yes. They were together the night that Laura was murdered, and so
now he's going down and kissing her painted toes. So who knew that Ben was like turned on by racist cross-dressing?
Well, I think this is the most honest moment that we've ever seen of Benjamin Horne.
Right.
Where you want me to beg? Because I will beg.
Well, he is at his lowest moment here.
He's desperate. Is, because if there was no Cooper right now, he was going to go down. The phone call out of her office, the phone call out of his office, and the white fox fur, and the fact that he can't account for his whereabouts the night she was killed.
Right. So he's so desperate. He's just signing. Okay, you want Ghostwood? Okie doke. You want
take it? Let's get me the hell out of this jail cell.
You want the sawmill? Okie doke.
Have whatever you want.
So go ahead and talk to the police now, right? Right?
You're gonna go tell them, aren't you? Come on, it's the truth.
Come on.
Come on.
She's like, I'll consider it.
I'll think about it. You know, we've been lying to each other forever. Why spoil it by telling the truth?
That's a great line, by the way.
Oh.
And very accurate, very telling. That sums up their relationship perfectly.
I love how he realizes that he's been touching the bar, the bars of the cell.
Like, oh, I have to wipe these down. Ew,
I was touching this. This is a fantastic scene right here.
And so disturbing.
So disturbing. We obviously have Bob.
Right.
Here.
So everybody, like, it's all out now that we all know that that Bob is in Leland.
Yes.
And so at this point, it's just all Bob can do to keep his true self under wraps.
And look at his face. Look at his face when he recognizes the glasses. He's
unsettled.
He's got that horrible look on his face that it's that same look he gets when he is telling the family that no one's eating dinner before Laura washes her hands.
And Ray Wise's eyes right here, just they have this like menace to them.
Ray Wise is so threatening in this scene that the first time I saw this, even though I knew Donna was going to come out of it safely, I thought to myself, is he going to kill her?
It's okay if I smoke, right?
I don't know if I would ever smoke in my friend's family's house.
Right.
That's just weird. I mean, I would never smoke, but still, that's just weird. Now, she did a very good job of hiding this from Bob because...
Well, yeah, this is where she's telling him that about Laura's secret diary.
He knew she had it because he was looking for it behind the dresser, but he didn't ever know what came of it, and he doesn't know that anybody's seen it.
Secret diary, you say?
Oh, yeah.
And his eyes just kind of like there's that. Oh, like you just get that glimpse of Bob peering out.
Yes.
And now he's all threatening. He starts violating her personal space, and then there's gets a phone call.
Yep.
Talk about Saved by the Bell.
Yeah, really. Maddie's mother trying to figure out where she is because she never made it home. And Donna has figured this out. I think already.
Surprised she didn't start breaking down crying.
I think it's the same way she figured out that Laura was killed when the girl came running across the quad screaming and crying.
Yeah.
Donna just knew. And Donna just knows that
her intuition.
Yep. She never made it home. And notice how he said she never made it home.
Right.
He didn't say she hasn't gotten home yet.
Right. Time for a stick of gum.
Yeah.
That gum you like, something.
Is going to come back in style.
Something.
Come back in style? Don't mind if I do.
Yep.
And so...
Oh. Leland, his attorney, always straightening his tie.
Okay. Tell me. I'm just going to look at the pears. Looking at pears. Just pears. Nothing.
Nice,
nothing
pretty
to see
pears.
Here but fruit. Oh. Just a bunch of pears on it. Is that nice? Oh, good Lord. Yeah, so...
Bob rocking his denim jacket.
Yes.
Now, here's a insanely creepy scene.
Creepy.
It rubs the lotion on its skin.
Yeah. And that's grapefruit juice, Leland. That is no way in lemonade. I'm sorry.
Right. Yeah, that doesn't look... For one thing, lemonade's, like, not so opaque.
Or orange.
Yeah. Maybe it's orangeade.
And... Yeah, seriously. I love how when she looks at that, when she gives him the tape,
right?
He looks at it like he has no idea what it is. It's just Ray Wise is so good at being Bob. He's really fantastic.
Hey, how about a tune?
Dance with me.
So what he's putting on here is called Je attendrai, which is French for I will wait, which was there was a singing version that was popularized by a singer named Rena Kelly in 1938.
Okay.
A little bit of a trivia there for you.
Very nice. Thank you, Charles.
You're very welcome.
Oh, boy.
How awesome would it have been if like, Leland had screamed as Bob screamed? And so
that would have been interesting. And
now this look by Ray, just he turns and is just so malevolent and menacing.
Oh, so menacing. So menacing. And
this episode really should have gotten Ray Wise an Emmy. I'm sorry.
I 100% think that. And I think Lara Flynn Boyle's doing a very good job in this scene too. She's nervously not sure what the hell is going on, but this is her best friend's father. She doesn't feel threatened by him. She's never had a problem with it, but oh my God.
Yeah.
That's,
it's also creepy because, he's such an older man and she's a younger girl. And here he is, he jerks her toward him.
Well, and she also knows that he's been going kind of crazy.
Yeah, but...
So she doesn't know what is going on here. Donna has been saved by the bell twice now in the last 5 minutes.
Now, if I was Donna, I would jump right out that window behind her.
Well, once I saw Harry, I might feel a little bit safer. But yeah, I'm getting the hell
Harry,
out of
Harry doesn't even acknowledge her presence here. He's just so focused on oh, hey, Leland, guess what? There's another murder.
There was another murder. And again, Donna knows what's going on. Donna Donna's figured it out.
He doesn't even look in Donna's direction. No, there's nothing wrong here with an older man and a younger girl alone in their house, his house.
But think about it. It's the daughter. It's the best friend of his daughter. She would be there.
That's true.
That it's not that that's an unheard of thing. Donna's been in that house a million times.
That's true. Donna, understandably upset here.
Yes.
So even Zan can't fault Donna here.
No, I don't. Yeah, I don't fault Donna here at all. I don't. There was nothing they could have done for Maddie. And
now I do kind of fault Donna a little bit here coming up. So she's filling in James.
Yes. James, who is taking way too much of this on himself, most definitely. I think he's because of Maddie dying.
Well, he had some feelings for Maddie.
He's reliving Laura's death.
Yeah,
and how
exactly. It's just like Laura dying all over again. You're right.
He feels like this is he feels like he should have been able to do something to help Laura, and the fact that he wasn't able to help Maddie just brings that all back home to him.
Yeah,
and he's having a hard time taking it. So this is the beginning of James skipping town.
Yeah, I'm a loner, Donna, a rebel.
Deja vu. And I genuinely feel bad for Donna right there. She's got to go through this alone now.
Now, seriously, James, don't leave me. There's like a serial killer of young teenage girls running around, and I'm alone in the woods.
And if you leave me, all you're going to do is find crazy. Now, this is my favorite scene. My favorite scene in the entire episode.
Oh, episode. Okay. After the ominous whooshing.
Well, I just love this whole scene at the roadhouse.
This is so well shot. I totally agree.
Yeah, this is incredible.
And you get that nice little like very dramatic, like basically like it's set up like an old murder mystery movie from the 40s.
Right, where everybody comes in the drawing room.
Yeah, and you have Cooper, the detective, basically bringing in the suspects and saying like the murderer is in this room.
Exactly. There's lightning, and then somebody's going to go crazy,
and it's all dramatic and theatrical.
Right. It's very dramatic, and
it's like, is that the killer? Oh crap! Oh crap! Oh crap! He's talking about me.
You make him sweat it out a little bit, and I think that because, and good on Cooper because Benjamin Horne is there.
Now I'm not going to move any of the tables. You guys move the tables.
And Benjamin Horne is in handcuffs here.
Right. He's just eating peanuts.
Yeah, I think that Bob thinks he's in the clear.
Right.
Because they've got him. They've already got Benjamin Horne, and Bob knows that he's been setting up Benjamin Horne, so he's thinking, "Oh, these meat sacks have figured this out. They've taken all of my clues."
Yes, they're falling for it.
They're falling for it. Yes,
exactly. Like the suckers they are.
Yep.
I have reason to believe that the killer is in this room.
He's a little concerned, but he's thinking, "Oh no, this should be fine."
This is David Lynch's Murder by Death. It's a movie I love, by the way, Murder by Death. If you've ever seen it. Peter Sellers. Yep. It's great.
Yep. Yeah, David Lynch's
Murder by Death.
Agatha Christie murder mystery here.
Yes. Ooh, magic. Yay.
And Benjamin Horne is back to being Benjamin Horne. And, of course, Albert and Harry are like best friends now after their...
Yeah, they made up.
After their big brawl.
Like, I love you, Sheriff Truman.
Someone is missing.
Isn't it? Aren't they, Margaret? It must be 3:00. If you ever watched that Three Stooges episode.
Yes.
Nasty spy.
I was on my way home. Like a boss, Major Briggs.
That's right.
Just coming in here.
Yep. He kept going on about milk.
Oh, what is this? What do we have here? Is that a stick of gum, perchance?
You want some gum? There you go,
and here's
little fella.
Here's the tell.
Yep.
Here's how we know.
I used to chew it when I was a kid.
Yep, and that's how we know.
That's my most favorite gum in the world. So it's like finally we get the payoff of the gum.
Yep, we finally get the payoff of the gum, and that's how everybody knows.
It's roll call. Like, oh, there's Ben, and there's Big Ed, and Major Briggs, and Cooper, and...
Yep.
And the little man from another place.
Here we go. And my father killed me. Cooper's finally able to hear what Laura says.
It's like, you telling me all I had to do was unmute?
Now, are we noticing that the waiter and the giant are there together?
No, because remember there's this whole vision thing going on.
I'm just saying that when the old man is in the room, that's when the giant shows up. I'm just saying this is what we call
the same
foreshadowing. Yes. That gum you like. Chris and I, by the way, we're pretty sure that's tea-berry gum.
Fruit stripe.
Oh my God, fruit stripe. Sugar-flavored gum, kids.
I'm all about the sugar-flavored gum.
Yep. So we're going to get Benjamin Horne arrested, and Leland Palmer should probably come too.
Yeah, wink, wink.
Yeah. So
even though Leland can't practice because remember he was still charged with Jacques Renault's murder. Remember that?
That's true. I do remember that.
But apparently, Leland doesn't remember that.
And you know what? I think I love this shot here of all these four guys. I just wanted Major Briggs to say,
"Okay, everybody.
So, gentlemen, should we go get a slice of pie?" Here it is. Yes.
Group photo. Here's my favorite moment. I love this. The thumbs up.
Cooper and his thumbs up. Great.
That has stuck with me throughout all my life since the first aired.
Yeah, that is.
It's iconic.
It's probably the best shot of Cooper in this entire original series.
Thumbs up.
And I think I love how Bob is doing all of his lawyer stuff now.
Yeah. Like, so I want to begin bail proceedings.
This is I will start talking in legality. Here's Cooper letting Harry in on the secret.
Oh, hey, psst. Laura's father killed her.
I also like to think that Major Briggs kind of knows what's going on.
Well, because, he's always in tune with everything.
Well, and Major Briggs has seen some shit.
That's true. Good point. Yes, he has.
Yeah, I think.
Now, I love this fake out. Like, okay. We'll start to escort Ben in. Oh, wait. Leland steps in.
And then all of a sudden.
Nope. It's a trap.
Here we have Bob. And I think this is funny right here. Like, oh, boom. He totally can go through that wall if he wants to.
Striptease.
Yeah. He's going to be able to go through that wall. I mean, it's so flimsy.
So he's kind of like half hooting and half grunting.
And thank you, Harry. We're gonna need stronger evidence than just what Laura Palmer said to you in your dream, Cooper.
You think?
Yeah, I think so.
I was in the FBI, right?
Yeah. You have a right to an attorney.
Yep. Now this is where his performance just goes off the chart.
Ray Wise needs all the Emmys this year for 1990. Yeah, he deserves all the Emmys.
He needs Emmys and escrow.
Seriously. Oh my God.
To make up for this.
Yeah. This is incredible.
He needs compound interest Emmys.
Yeah. This is
and he's hooting like an owl here.
He's horrifying in this. He's so scary and
his hair's all messed up. His spiky hair's all messed up.
Yeah.
And he's got his eyes are just fantastic. The expression.
Oh, what are you talking about here, Bob?
Oh, Pittsburgh. Save that for the next storyline.
That thing with the knives, like when Cooper got stabbed? How do you know?
You mean you were there with Wyndham Earl?
He's in tune with Cooper, unfortunately. Again, what we call foreshadowing.
Time to shuffle off the buffalo.
Seriously. Poor Leland.
And it's great that Ray does it.
You listen to Bob.
His Bob voice here.
Yeah.
And it's so distinctive.
It's so sad, too, when he describes when he describes what's happening to Leland, actually, it's really, really depressing.
Well, yeah, because he's just essentially Leland is this plaything for Bob, and
this
is just fun for him.
And it's been like 30 years.
Yeah,
30 years.
Because he's such a long-lived being. He might be immortal for all we know, presumably immortal.
I just mean Leland. I mean, Leland has had to deal with Bob for like 30 years. Oh,
right.
Dick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep. Dick Tremond, Men's Fashions.
Oh, God. You would think somebody who works in Men's Fashions would get a better overcoat.
Right. It looks like he just got that out of the dryer. That's been sitting in there for 3 days.
Oh, God. The only person in Twin Peaks to wear an ascot. Yeah, Andy.
Be quiet. Let her talk.
Let her talk. Good for you, Andy.
Andy is very woke for
I love
1991, 2.
Yeah.
No, 91. Yeah.
And this episode is very very good with how to treat women. You've got Andy asserting himself to protect Lucy from Dick Tremond being a jerk to her.
Right. Well,
and then you have earlier in the diner, James said, "I just think we should always be together if that's okay with you." Way to go with the consent, James.
Yep.
I appreciate that.
They're very evolved. Evolved men in Twin Peaks.
They're very evolved men. Well, a couple of them are. There's always Leo Johnson.
Well, there's Dick Tremond too, but yeah.
And Dick Tremond. So, do you remember that whole thing about the sprinklers? That if they were a tad off, they would just go off on you.
Right. I have that same smoke alarm in our house, by the way. Nice,
original props.
Thank you.
That's fantastic. Yeah. See, and this is an explanation of all of the.
Yeah. So now news. Yeah. So essentially, Cooper is armchair quarterbacking here, going, okay, so this is how everything you watched connects.
This is the Hercule Poirot moment where he stands up in the drawing room, pacing around the room, explaining every little thing that's happened and how it points to one person's guilt. Exactly. Where we have the little man from another place who's dancing and Leland couldn't stop dancing, and the white hair and the
letters, spelling out Robertson.
Yeah, the son of Robert.
Right. Now, for all Cooper knows, it could have just been spelling out robot or strobe or throbs or whatever. How do you know that?
Scrabble?
Yep.
So, yeah. And here's Harry. He's like, I don't know what the hell we're going to do about this, Cooper. Like, Bob can't actually really exist, can he? Oh, what is this? What are we saying? What are we saying, Leland?
Oh. He's saying the thing.
The thing.
World's fire. Walk with me.
Yeah.
Now we get Leland reciting Bob's spiel from Cooper's Dream.
Yep.
And now here's where everything goes straight to hell.
Here's where it all comes unhinged. And again, Ray Wise needs all the Emmys.
Yes.
Well, okay, we can save one for Frank Silva.
Yeah. Frank was great in this too.
Frank is fantastic. Frank was... And
now, interestingly, like Bob has his hands free. His hands aren't cuffed because he's a spirit.
That's the thing. Yeah, Bob is.
But Leland is because he's obviously mortal.
Yeah.
And physical.
And so here we have.
Oh, here's Harry. He wipes out. He's like, I can't get the door open.
And of course, there's the proverbial huge ring of keys. Okay, look at all that gory stuff hanging from the door there. That's pretty gross for 1990 ABC primetime Thursday nights.
That was pretty hardcore.
Yeah.
Now here's like Ray Wise's triumphant moment right here. This death scene. It's where Leland finally realizes that he killed his daughter.
This is where Bob has left Leland, and Leland is free to tell his story and everything that happened.
It's so tragic. And Ray Wise just kills it.
Yeah, Ray Wise kills this. I can't watch this scene without crying.
I don't blame you. It's so good.
It's way too sad. It's this poor guy. Bob has killed him. Bob said he will kill again, and he did, 8 seconds later. Bob he ran him into the door and then left him to die with just in his final moments. He gets flooded with the knowledge of everybody he killed.
Yep. And now he also realizes that, hey, Laura fought him.
Laura fought, and so they killed her.
Right.
And he realizes, and he remembers now that he killed that girl, Teresa. So we know he killed Teresa Banks.
It's even more heartbreaking. It's even more heartbreaking because Ray Wise's voice is shot in this scene.
Oh, yeah.
Probably from that big primal scream he uttered.
Yeah. Yeah. And, Leland, love him. He tried. He tried to fight them, and he would not give them Laura.
But he wasn't strong enough to overcome
And they
them.
tried to take Laura, and she wouldn't let them have her. So it was...
Her only out was dying because she didn't want... She didn't want them to have her.
Yep. She didn't want it. So...
He loved her.
Of course he did.
The scene
the
scene is just so amazingly shot.
Bob gave Leland moments of being Leland. There were probably years where he got to be just Leland.
Now this part I love. Cooper basically has to talk Leland into accepting his death.
Talks him past the threshold from
basically
light.
to turn away from the darkness and go toward the light.
Right. He talks him through the threshold from life to death.
Right.
And it is just heart-wrenching.
And it's at this point you're like, can't those sprinklers ever shut off?
Yeah. But I think even though David Lynch didn't direct this episode, I love this addition of that sort of random background minutia that gets in your way.
Yeah.
That David Lynch just does really, really well.
His influence is obviously here.
Yeah. Oh, very much so.
Do you think Lynch would have shot this better?
I
don't know there would have been as much emotion with Lynch.
I don't. I think a very good job was done on this.
Yeah. It's
I don't know.
I know that's kind of well, it's I know you're just it's all speculative because obviously it'll never. There's no way to make that happen to compare, but
I think it would have been a little bit weirder. I think we would have had
a little more surreal.
I think especially that roadhouse scene would have been a little bit weirder.
Yeah.
And
but this is just so powerful and emotional. And then we cut to the next morning.
Major Briggs like a boss.
He is just standing there, at attention.
Major Briggs knows what's going on, man. Major Briggs knows what this is all about.
A path is formed by laying one stone at a time.
Oh, Cooper, never far from a cup of coffee. and
Harry's just I can't even deal with this.
He's like, what the hell did I just see?
Right. This is weird even for this town.
Yeah, even for this town, this is crazy. By the way, has anybody seen My Girlfriend?
Right, yeah. Well, he had to back burner that, obviously, for this.
Yeah, he had to back burner that for a little bit. Yeah. I don't know, kid. I've been in these woods my whole life. I've seen a lot of strange stuff. I haven't seen anything. Makes me believe that there's some all-powerful force controlling everything.
Yeah. Yeah, essentially, Harry is the Han Solo in this scene.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good against the living, that's one thing. Good against Bob, that's something else.
That's it's what's easier, Harry, to think that a father raped and murdered his own daughter?
Yeah, seriously. Can you handle that easier than...
Damn!
Yeah, and that's the thing. It's that's at least some comfort. Oh, well, I guess that's true. There's some sort of malevolent, eternal, evil presence that's forcing this to happen.
Yeah.
The evil that men do.
Yep. See, Harry's essentially the realist in this scene.
Harry's basically saying what I just said.
Yeah, he's the common man here because he's going like, okay, so if Bob is real, then where is he now?
Oh. Here we have the
cut to shaky cam.
Here we have the 80s metal video that ends this episode for us.
But it's awesome though.
I really hear like
cool
that 80s
little
metal
ravine or whatever, and then all of a sudden there's like a negative image of a owl coming to view.
Oh, dun 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 dun!
I'll be back to take out Josie.
I'll be back for Josie and the knob of the drawer.
Don't forget to tip your waitress. Good night.
Seriously, Harry is basically saying, "Look, we had him locked in a room.
Right.
He's gone now. Where the hell did he go?" And that's the thing. And they don't know. They don't know how to catch him. They can't catch him.
Yeah.
They can't. They gotta punch him in the next year with Freddie McRubberfist.
Exactly. You have to wait 25 years for Freddie McRubberfist to take him out.
That's the only thing you can possibly do. Yeah.
But they don't even know that yet at this point, obviously.
Seriously.
So.
Oh my goodness.
How is it just such an amazing episode?
Yes, it is a fantastic.
And I'm so glad we got to do that for our 50th episode here.
That is so random that actually happened because we did not plan that.
No, well, when we started reviewing the episodes and I started paying attention to the order, and I was just, I was doing the math, obviously, and I realized, oh my God, this episode is going to be our 50th as long as we stay on schedule. And so I've been waiting
from the beginning,
waiting for this.
Waiting.
And I was just like, yes, we did it.
We didn't engineer it that way, though. We didn't plan it to be that way.
No, it just worked out so well. And I've been eagerly anticipating this. So it's awesome that I got to share that with you.
Oh, that was fantastic.
I mean, obviously, it'd be even better if we were in the same room watching this properly on a television instead of an iPad. But
we should do that sometime.
That's a good one.
We should have a podcast night where we do this.
I'll bring the
in the same room together. Bring the donuts. I'll make the coffee. That'll work.
Well, I drink tea, but I'll take.
Well, whatever.
I know. I know. It's weird. It's like my blog is named Damn Good Coffee, and yet I'm a tea drinker. Go figure.
Well,
Yeah, I know. This is why I'm weird. Okay, but
doesn't mean there's not damn and hot out there in the world.
That's right. Damn good tea and hot.
And hot.
Thumbs up. All right. So, what's your rating for this one? I gotta imagine it's pretty high.
Yeah, it's pretty high, and I'm gonna say, I know my number, but I'm trying to think of how I want to rate this.
Do you want me to go first?
Yeah, you go first.
Okay, I'll go first. So, ordinarily, I would give this a 10.
Uh-huh.
But because David Lynch did not direct this,
okay,
I took off a half point.
Did you really? Okay.
For that. Otherwise, this is such a great episode, such a perfect episode.
Yes.
I mean, I think it would have been nice if, like, maybe if Lynch had directed the Roadhouse scene, or some of the other scenes as a co-director along with Tim Hunter.
I hear you.
Tim Hunter obviously shot that whole final scene with Leland perfectly.
Yes.
And so I would not even touch that. I mean, obviously,
no.
I mean, if I'm going to armchair quarterback this again, but there's some things obviously I think that Lynch would have brought more to the table in some of the more surrealness of things.
Certainly would have brought something different to the table.
I think like like when the giant appears, or when that scene with Mike in the Great Northern, or Catherine visiting Ben in jail.
What is it about this town that makes people want to do it with people through the bars?
I don't know, right? Is there like are like the bars like coated in like powdered rhino horn or something for an aphrodisiac?
We're going to harvest Fry's lower horn.
I was just thinking about that when you said that.
Yep. Well, I actually give this episode 10 out of 10 sticks of that gum you like.
Okay, very good. So this is a perfect episode for you.
And it's 100% Ray Wise.
Yes.
This to me is, I don't know why more people don't know his name.
Yes.
Because
I do too. I mean, it's just, this episode is so phenomenal. But again, it's because the show doesn't have that mainstream exposure.
Well, this show, and
I don't think Ray Wise has been given a character like Leland. Certainly not on the scale of Leland Palmer.
No, I definitely don't think so either. And I think he can. This episode tells you that Ray Wise can do anything he wants.
Right.
And he can do anything, and he can handle anything that comes at you, and he's so fantastic. And I understand where you're coming from with having David Lynch not directing this episode, that it loses maybe a little bit, or it doesn't necessarily lose anything, but it does leave a question open of the what if David Lynch.
Thank you. That sums it up perfectly, because obviously like some parallel dimension where David Lynch directed this episode.
Right. And the what if kind of gnaws at you a little bit.
Right. Like would it have been better? Would it have been worse? I think, in some ways, like, I don't think Lynch could have shot that final scene with Leland as well as Tim Hunter did here.
Well, definitely, and I think that we were talking about how the whole...
But again, and there's also the script to consider, because the script is so good.
The script, those three people are who you would want to write your Twin Peaks episode.
Right.
And they all wrote it.
Yeah, well, I mean, because obviously each of them were responsible for so many clues along the way to this mystery and adding to the mythos. Right. And I
kind of do like the throwback, like we were saying, to like the 1930s Poirot mystery.
Like a murder mystery. The whodunit.
The whodunit. You gather everybody in a room and you give your evidence, and then you go on about how, okay, there's this, and this. And he's who's guilty, and here's how I know, and watch the confession, and and then everybody try and catch him before he runs out of the mansion, sort of a thing. I kind of like that throwback, and I don't know if David Lynch would have made that choice as well. But I do like it, and I think what we lose, if anything, I think the gnawing question of what if, of having David Lynch not direct this episode, is made up for by the performance of Ray Wise.
Right.
And
yeah, because obviously, he had so much on his shoulders in this episode, but he carried it off so perfectly. I don't think you could fault a single thing he does in this episode.
No, not anything. He's perfect in this. And this episode gets a 10 out of 10 for him specifically.
Yeah, maybe we should just give a separate grade for Ray Wise.
Ray Wise is like a 15 out of 10.
Exactly.
Yeah.
How about a billion out of 10 for Ray Wise?
Seriously, how high can I count above 10 and still be remotely credible?
Infinity plus infinity out of 10.
Yeah, out of 10.
For Ray Wise.
Yep.
He's so good.
I cannot say enough good things about Ray Wise.
And again, it's a crime. It's an absolute crime that he never got even nominated for an Emmy for this.
And ABC, man. ABC screwed David Lynch so bad.
Well, they just didn't know what to do with this show.
They didn't know what was going on. They had no idea what to expect from this. They didn't understand where David Lynch is going with this. And ABC has no idea that they changed television.
Yeah.
This show changed the landscape of television forever.
Right. If this show had aired on HBO within the past 10 years,
there would have been a lot more blood on that police room interrogation.
Well, and
we would have been seeing Cheryl Lee's boobies a lot earlier.
Right. Yes. But apart from that, but it would have cleaned up at the enemies.
It would have cleaned up. Yeah, that's the thing. But
it would be getting like 17 Emmy nominations, just like Game of Thrones or what have you.
Well, or
Westworld or what have you.
The Return didn't bring in a lot of Emmys.
No.
It got Kyle MacLachlan a nomination for playing 3+ roles.
Yeah. But again, if Showtime, and they don't really care about Showtime either.
Yeah, he still didn't win because people don't get how awesome the show is. And that's okay. You can miss out. More for me.
Yeah. But that's, this is why, the Twin Peaks community, we're kind of like a support group for each other. It's like, we understand your pain of being angry at the Academy or the Emmys for being, or the Golden Globes for like ignoring this show.
Just the feeling of,
we get it.
Yeah, that feeling of, why is this not more?
Yeah.
Why doesn't the rest of the world get how awesome this is?
Yeah.
Now, I understand that this is an extremely dark show.
Right. And it's not everybody's taste, obviously.
And like Cooper says, this is a show about a guy who rapes and murders his own daughter. I mean,
yeah.
We cannot sugarcoat that.
It's not exactly a family film to take the kids to.
No, it's not exactly something that you all can watch. And granted, if the kids were watching the show, they wouldn't get it, so
right.
You'd at least have that going for you. But
which is nice.
Which is nice. But it's not something everybody can watch. It's not everybody's cup of tea. Not everybody wants to watch terrible things happen to decent people.
No.
But the surreal aspect of this show, I think, makes it interesting enough that even though that stuff is hard to deal with, it's hard to look away because it's just interesting.
Well, and also because of the performances are so good and the script is so good.
Yes.
And the direction is so good that it's compelling.
Right. It's compelling.
It may not be what you want to watch, but you can't help but watch it once you start. Right.
And it's the type of thing where it doesn't matter what's going on. There's still characters you care about.
Right. And those performances are just so impassioned.
I don't care who you are. You want good things to happen to Ed and Norma. I mean, you care about what happens to them. So
you root for them.
Yeah, you do. You root for them. It takes you 25 years to get anything good out of that, but
hey, you did get a payoff there.
You get a payoff eventually.
Yeah.
So
your time wasn't completely wasted.
Yeah. It
Now everybody else, that's
it's not exactly.
You got your Andy and your Lucy that worked out, okay.
Andy and Lucy worked out, yeah, and
But, everybody else, not so much.
Yeah, really. Well, James has always been cool. He's got that.
James has always been single, but James has always been cool.
James, he's a loner dotty.
A rebel.
But yeah, that's the thing. And obviously James is still tortured by this, playing Just You at the Roadhouse and things like that. So for killing a guy, Bobby Briggs kind of cleaned up pretty well.
That's true. He got his life on track.
Yeah, you got to give him that.
Yeah.
And
even though he's still trying to get his relationship with Shelley on track.
Well, it's hard.
Yeah. Especially when you have Red around.
Especially when Red's around and when your daughter is a kind of a smack addict. That's a little bit difficult.
Yeah. That does kind of complicate things a little bit.
That does.
Just a little bit.
Exactly.
All right. I loved going through this saga with you.
I loved this too. This was great fun.
Yeah.
That was fantastic.
But so obviously this part of the saga at least, is coming to an end. This story arc.
Yes, the Laura Palmer story arc.
The Laura Palmer saga. So the question is, okay, what do we talk about next? And Zan and I have kind of, even just right before this podcast, we kind of spitballed some ideas.
Why do you tell our secrets?
I'm filled with secrets.
No, you're not, Charles.
Not anymore.
That's the problem.
I'm an open book.
You're just an open book, yes. Well, I was thinking.
I want people to kind of get a feeling for what we go through. So
that's true. Yeah, this is our process.
So they're gonna hey, we're trying to figure this out too. So
yeah, seat of our pants.
Yeah, I mean, we could try to pretend oh yeah, we totally have everything together.
Oh, we totally planned this to be our 50th episode.
Exactly. This is all years in the making.
Yeah, this was strategically engineered to the smallest detail.
Exactly.
So what we were thinking is what we would do from here on out is I like to think that until Wyndham Earl shows up, and I am a little biased about the Wyndham Earl thing because Wyndham Earl I came in to watching the show on a regular basis.
Right.
So I've got a soft spot for him.
He was your go-to, or at least your entry point.
He was my
storyline.
Yeah, he was my entry point.
He was your gateway to Twin Peaks.
Right, exactly. And those how there are those actors out there who forever will be associated in your mind with one role, and when you see them, you almost you usually refer to them as that role.
Yes.
And to this day, when I see Kenneth Welsh, I say, "Oh, Wyndham Earle's in this."
How can you not? Well, same thing with Kyle MacLachlan.
And when I saw, exactly. When
He's
I saw
in a billion other things. He was Muad'Dib, for crying out loud.
I've seen Kyle MacLachlan in a lot of things, and I think he's wonderful.
But he's Cooper. Always going to be Cooper to me.
Cooper is the role he was born to play.
Right.
That role was for him.
It's his definitive role.
It's his definitive role. Absolutely. Absolutely. It's his Elliot Ness.
Exactly.
That's the only thing he's ever going to play. It's not the only thing he's ever going to play, but he was born to play that role.
Right. Exactly. So we're
like when I saw when Chris and I started watching The Expanse, I was like, "Oh, hey, Wyndham Earle's in this."
Yeah. Well, because for me, I was Sherilyn Fenn is always going to be Audrey Horne.
Oh yeah.
And she just recently turned up on an episode of The Magicians on Sci-Fi.
Oh, I heard about that. Yeah.
Yeah. And so I did a double take. I'm like, "Hey, Sherilyn Fenn, how's it going?"
Sherilyn Fenn's another one too.
She's been turning up in some interesting places lately.
And she turns out to be she's a great comedic actress, but she's also a fantastic villain.
Right.
A fantastic bad person. So.
But here's in this role on the Magicians, she was just a little touch of comic relief, but not so much. But
okay.
It's more kind of like a cameo appearance, but it's worth it because hey, it's Sherilyn Fenn. She's just so much fun to watch. But stuff like that. So yeah, I totally get that. So to kind of get back to where we were and talk about
so what we were thinking of is I think there's a time period in Twin Peaks between the Laura saga being over and the Wyndham Earle saga starting where we kind of flounder a little bit.
Yes. And especially with the first episode right after this, which is almost like after such a big episode to have the next episode, dispute between brothers, and it kind of just falls flat.
Talk about an attempt at comic relief.
Yeah, and so
an attempt at comic relief,
right?
Too.
And that should have been immediately the hook to make you like, oh, we're diving right into the next major storyline,
right?
The Wyndham Earle saga.
Exactly. But so there are some really good things that come out of this era,
right?
We have a whole story arc about Josie and her past coming to catch up with her.
That Josie thing starts to ramp up again, and
the Josie thing's great. And then as you remember, Blackie might have been killed when they rescued Audrey from One Eye Jacks, but Jean Reno is still out there.
Yeah, don't forget Thomas Eckhart.
Thomas Eckhart. Oh, I could never forget Thomas Eckhart.
Yes.
There's this whole Jean Reno situation that requires more FBI guys.
We're going to need some more FBI guys.
No, the other one. FBI guys or FBI gals.
FBI, that's right. FBI Agent Johnson or Special Agent Johnson?
No relation.
No relation.
I was in junior high, dickhead. Anyway, we see the introduction of Denise Bryson.
The ever lovely David Duchovny.
David Duchovny, yes. There's room for more than one beautiful woman.
In the role that I'm still convinced is the role that got him Twin Peaks or the X-Files.
X-Files.
Yeah.
Well, it was either that or Beethoven, and so I'm thinking this.
Yeah, I think so. This seems more fitting. Yes. Especially since X-Files came out the next year, so yeah.
Yeah. No, X-Files was 93.
Yes, but I mean, they started filming. I'm presuming.
Oh, did they? Okay.
At 92, I'm guessing.
I gotta find that. It was a shitpost, a Twin Peaks shitpost where it was Laura writing in her diary like it was the Red Shoe Diaries.
Oh.
Which, of course, was David Duchovny.
Yeah.
So that I gotta find that. That's pretty funny. But
that is good.
And I love Denise Bryson. I think that character is fantastic.
So obviously there's plenty of things for us to talk about.
plenty of things for us to talk about, but I think we should take them in story arc rather than an episode.
Yeah, so kind of like, well, especially with this upcoming story arc, we're kind of we're going to do this, kind of condense this into like instead of just talking episode by episode, we thought we'd just cover the entire saga in a single episode of the James Hurley saga.
I think we should get that out of the way first. So hopefully you'll stick with us through this, because we'll give you the Cliff Notes version. We'll make it short and sweet.
Right. We know it's obviously a sticking point with a lot of fans.
And the thing is, there's nothing wrong with James. It's just James he's one of what I refer to as the serious boys.
Right.
Those guys, that just take everything way too to heart and way too serious. And he gets himself in a really bad situation, really bad decisions because he's on himself.
Right.
So, there's nothing wrong with James. I just don't like his choices. James has always been cool.
He does make some really bad decisions. If you watch these episodes, you feel our pain, and you feel our pain, and you know what's coming up. So, but there are some good moments out of this, so we don't want to just completely ignore them. So, so we thought this would be maybe a good way to kind of address the stuff that really we want to address.
Exactly, but we don't have to.
But we don't have to dwell on the stuff we don't want to dwell on. Does that make sense?
We don't have to take it piece by piece. We can make it a little more linear. We can do James, we can do Josie, we can do Jean Renault.
Right.
And then we can pick back up with Wyndham Earle.
But I do think we need to cover the James Hurley saga first.
We need to cover it, yeah. We need to cover it because if it weren't for the fact that we knew James left town,
right,
that makes him being in Twin Peaks in the return that much more meaningful.
Right.
That he's come back home, that he's looked all over, but something brought him back home.
Yeah.
So that, everything has its place in Twin Peaks, even the Milfords, because if it weren't for the dispute between brothers,
right,
we wouldn't have.
We never would have been introduced to Dougie Milford, and
we would have never been introduced to Dougie.
And we know that Dougie obviously becomes a major player in the Mark Frost books.
Yes, and without knowing Lana, we would have never known what jazz erotica is.
So, isn't it fusion jazz erotica?
It's something jazz erotica, and I can't think of what it is, but yeah, it's something jazz erotica.
Yeah.
But and Lana just helps us realize what a slimeball Dick Tremaine is, even beyond what we already knew.
Right.
He's a terrible person.
Yeah. So we'll have fun talking about Robin Lively as Lana Milford. But
Robin Lively, she does a great job of being a horrible person.
Yeah, exactly.
She has her moments.
Yeah, she kind of got hers too.
Yeah, well, when you marry 90-year-olds, that's what happens.
Exactly. So. All right, and so next time on Ghostwood, we're going to talk about the James Hurley saga.
Yep, we're gonna
do our best to zip right through it. So we're going to be the fast forward version of the James Hurley saga.
We are going to make that as painless as we possibly can.
Exactly, and hopefully make it entertaining for you.
Yes, make it entertaining. Which I don't know why we think we can. David Lynch couldn't do it.
Well, at this point, Lynch was kind of checked out a little bit.
He was kind of checked out. Yeah, he was doing some other stuff.
Yeah, he's too busy. I'm going to do this other project. And
I got this other thing going. I got some movies I want to make, and then we'll see what goes on. Right. So, Charles, I wanted to share something with you that I was reminded of while watching this episode.
Okay.
Benjamin Horne is talking to Catherine in jail.
Right.
He mentions this being the dark night of his soul.
Right.
And that reminded me of this.
Nice.
The Dark Night of the Soul album by Danger Mouse and Sparkle Horse.
Nice.
With David Lynch on the project, doing the song.
Really?
Dark Night of the Soul. So yeah, if you haven't heard this.
And then this is the spiffy vinyl version.
This is the spiffy special edition with the vinyl and the booklet and the CD included and stuff like that. So
it's got some nice shiny lettering on it too.
Yeah, it's pretty nifty. The question is, how much more black could this album be? And the answer is none. None more black.
It absorbs all light and color.
Yes. Danger Mouse, and Sparkle Horse. What am I, somebody's mom? I can't get names right. Yeah. Danger Mouse, Sparkle Horse.
Is that Troy, Danger Horse? No.
Yeah. The Adventures of Danger Horse rolls into your town and attacks your people in the middle of the night.
And materializes in your living room.
Yeah, seriously. The Trojan Danger Horse. But yeah, I think this is from, my gosh, what is this, from 2008 or something like that? Dark Night of the Soul? Yeah, the project with Danger Mouse and Sparkle Horse and David Lynch on. I recommend checking it out. The song "Dark Night of the Soul" is very interesting and haunting and David Lynchy, so I think you'd enjoy it if you heard it.
Cool.
So I just wanted to remind everybody about that project.
Maybe I'll check that out on the YouTubes.
Yeah, check it out on the YouTubes, or go down to your local Rekisto.
Yeah. And
see if this. I don't even know if this is still in print, but it could be a special order. You never know.
I was to say that looks pretty exclusive.
I think it was
limited, I should say.
Yeah, but I think that the actual album might still be in print. I will ask my friends down at Spoonful Records if it's still in print, and if it is, I'll let you know.
Yeah, please do. Cool. That sounds awesome.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
All right, so we didn't get any feedback, and I'm kind of disappointed.
Aww. Maybe everybody was waiting for us.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe just everybody's either catching up, or they're kind of waiting, or hopefully listen to my other podcast or something. But so we don't have any of that to share. So, but if you, after listening to this episode, if you do have some feedback, why don't you go ahead? It's not like there's a time limit on this thing. So why don't you drop us a line, Ghostwoodcast, at Ghostwoodcast on the Twitter machine, or GhostwoodPodcast at thegmail.com.
The Gmail.
And then Ghostwood, the Twin Peaks Podcast on the Facebook, where you could talk to your mom and also drop us a line on Facebook. And let us know what you think
about your privacy settings to not have your mom.
Exactly.
See all your posts.
Kind of, block or put her on mute or something.
And, block your mom from seeing all of your Twin Peaks shit posts. Because she's just not going to get it.
No, you're just going to get questions and
they're just going to ask you things, and
so it's going to be a whole thing. So
I did that whole do 10 days, 10 movies, just one image and no explanation, movies that influenced you. Right. And
yeah, I know you tagged me on that.
Yes, I did. And my mom was like, "Your movies, I don't know a lot of them." I'm like, "Yeah, I don't think you did, Mom."
It's not exactly your wheelhouse, Mom.
Pretty sure you're not all that interested in Eraserhead.
Which is why I learned way back in the 90s never to discuss Twin Peaks with my parents.
Yeah, they just don't care. Parents just don't care about Twin Peaks.
Parents just don't understand.
They just don't care. Yeah. Some parents do, like I have my friend Sarah and my friend Kristen, them and their moms dressed up like Twin Peaks people one year for Halloween.
See, that's awesome.
Because they got into that. But my mom doesn't care about Twin Peaks. She's not big into it.
Yeah. I did a little Dale Cooper cosplay back in the day.
That's pretty awesome.
Because I used to have my hair longer, so I had I was rocking the hair gel.
Nice.
Yeah.
So, all you really need is a suit and an overcoat, and a little tape recorder.
Oh, yeah. I had that. So, yeah. I had the little dictaphone. It was cool. But, please reach out to us and let us know what you thought about this episode, because it's such a good episode. Or any of the other episodes that we talk about here on Ghostwood.
Now that you've watched the episode with us, let us know what you...
Or, hey, if you've got some thoughts about the James Hurley saga, drop us a line there. I would kind of really like to know what your thoughts are on the James Hurley saga.
I want to hear what everybody else thinks about the James Hurley saga.
If you want to slam it. If you want to praise it. If you think it's kind of like it's not hyped as much as it should be, or hyped more than it should be, let us know. Zan, where can they reach you on the interwebs?
Oh, I'm on the Twitter machine and on the Instagrams as Udinax19.
Sweet.
And I'm on, and I can be found at any of the outlets for Ghostwood as well. I check those out. I'm on Facebook, but I don't do a lot on Facebook really. So
well, you do the movie postings and the TV.
I do the
postings.
Movie posting. That's about. If you want to see stills from movies, I'm just Dan Sprouse on Facebook, but mostly I'm.
Some occasional Simpsons pics, stuff like that.
Yep. Occasionally, yes. And if you want to, this has been a rough year. 2019 has been rough for B movies this year. Mm-hmm. Because we lost Dick Miller.
Right. Yeah. And who I was a big fan of because he appeared on The Flash as this character named Foz Knight.
Yes, he did. He was on the
Flash. And he was really good on that, by the way.
He was part of that Roger Corman crew, like him and Jack Nicholson.
Right.
And Dick Miller was in Rock and Roll High School, the movie about the Ramones.
Yeah.
That oh God, I can't think of that director's name off the top of my head. It's like right there, but I can't.
That's okay.
It.
They've got the IMDb. They're good.
They've got you guys have the Googles. You know that.
This is the future. This is the future. They're covered.
The line of Rock and Roll High School is spoken by Dick Miller at the very end of the movie. Mm-hmm. Where the Ramones lead their revolution and the kids take over the school. Dick Miller, who is the police officer, just looks at them and says, "They're ugly people." I just think that is so funny. It's my favorite line.
I haven't seen that movie in a dog's age.
Oh, yeah. But yeah, so we lost Dick Miller and we lost Julia Adams as well.
Right.
From Creature from the Black Lagoon.
Right.
And
I know.
Both their 90s. So, B movies, clean living. Seriously.
Yeah. But, so rest in peace, both of them.
Yeah.
Please. But thankfully, we obviously have all their films and TV episodes to enjoy.
Yes, we do. They will live forever.
Exactly.
And walk among us.
Exactly.
Just as the creature walks among us.
In eternity.
Oh.
All right. So as for me, I'm at Charles Skaggs on the Twitter machine or at Charles Skaggs on the Instagrams. Not Google Plus anymore because it's gone.
The Google Plus finally went away.
It's gone. Yeah, it did. Facebook, Charles Skaggs in Hilliard, Ohio, or my blog at Geeky Things. Damn good coffee and hot with a thumbs up for this week's episode, where I talk about all kinds of comic books, sci-fi news, casting, and news of my other podcasts that I do for Southgate Media, including Titan Talk, the Titans podcast, as get ready to talk about DC Universe series Doom Patrol, which is going to be, I think, probably the weirdest DC Comics project to ever come out on television. I'm definitely looking forward to that if they do it right.
On TV, probably. Yeah.
And it's interesting because the Umbrella Academy adaptation on Amazon, I think it's Amazon, also debuts that very same day. So it's going to be a very weird day for comic book TV. But
that's
the one
that's a weird day, but a good day.
The Umbrella Academy. That's by Gerard Way.
Okay.
Yeah, his comic book projects for Dark Horse. But and then next up everywhere, the Doctor Who podcast, where we've got some rotating series of fill-in hosts as we.
Oh yeah, that's right. You're doing fill-in.
Because Jesse Jackson is kind of scaling things back to about once a month, and Karen Lindsay, friend of the show, is sadly having issues with her MS.
Incapacitated, unfortunately.
Yeah, unfortunately. Yeah, so I really feel bad for her, but she's trying her best to get back on track. It's unfortunately it's a struggle, and MS sucks. So,
MS is insidious. It's an insidious condition.
So this is something that's kind of been like this little horrible thing that's been kind of lurking in the background, and unfortunately it's kind of moved to the foreground. So all my thoughts are with Karen, and I'm sure yours as well, Zan.
Yes, definitely. I have healing thoughts for her for sure.
But Karen is still helping out with the podcast and the editing that she can help out with, and so she's still a part of the show. But we're doing this rotating series of co-hosts, and we're covering all kinds of classic era Tom Baker, John Pertwee, and the modern day stuff. So so please check those out because this is a lot of fun.
I want in on this John Pertwee thing you got going on.
Yep. Hey, he's Sean's dad. Sean Pertwee's dad.
That's right. He's Alfred's dad.
Yeah, he's Alfred's dad. But, so check that out. And we definitely appreciate it. And hopefully we'll get the Fandom Zone back someday. But, again, we're just, our best wishes are with Karen. And that's about it, I think. So, everybody, that's our big 50th episode. And thanks so much for listening, because we really appreciate it.
Yes, we do.
And please come back for episode 51, the James Hurley Saga.
We'll make it as painless as the James Hurley Saga can possibly be.
It's going to be a lot more fun than I think people were expecting. And I hope everybody comes back and enjoys it with us.
I think so, too. And I'm curious about it, too, because remember when we talked about during the return how for years I sort of made fun of the Just You and I song?
Yes.
And then I heard him play it and I started to cry.
Yeah.
I was so happy
you got nostalgic.
I did. So I'm wondering if that's the same thing is going to happen with James Hurley Saga.
Yeah.
And I wonder if watching it together.
Yeah.
And just watching it for those bits and not watching it and wondering like, oh my God, is Cooper going to get his job back? Is blah, 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 all these other questions we had. I wonder if I'm going to care a little bit more. So
I think that's possible.
Yes.
Maybe a little more nostalgic than you think.
Yeah, we'll see.
So we'll see. So hopefully everybody joins us, and we will be back for episode 51 here in a couple weeks or so, and we'll see you next time right here, Ghostwood, Twin Peaks Podcast. Goodbye, everybody.
Bye, everybody.
Doppelganger.